Startup management is a bit different than classical corporation, where usually we try to find the right balance between the time, the cost, and the quality. In startup, we focus on reducing time and cost at maximum, which means that the quality of the project needs to be adjusted depending on the stage of the project. So the challenge of a very early stage startup will be to look great, to do a good job for the final customer, while the team will struggle to provide the service maybe a bit manually. And that's not all. Always reducing the cost leads to have a tight management. And the key to thrive in that context is to first share the difficulties, then share the strategy of the company and share the goals of the team and of the company. In other words, having a real transparency. Startup team management is a huge topic and it will be an entire course in it of its own. But let me introduce you the basics rules of a success team management. The first things, the most important one, is the source code management. You are the founder, so the source code should belong to you, or to your company. And not later after payments, not after a month, from the day one. So the solution for you is to subscribe to a Git online repository. As example, bitbucket.com, or a paid account on GitHub or GitLab. Git is a software and a protocol that allow your developer to manage the source code and that allow you to have access to it whenever you need. Git is a software and a protocol that allow three things. It allows your developer to always have a backup of the source code. It will allow you to have a daily control and a daily view on what your developer is doing. And it can also allow you to delegate the access, to give the access to someone new to have a third-party opinion on what has been done for your development. We were talking about transparency before. I would invite you to let your developers know what you are doing and know that you want to have access to what belongs to you. Some developers might not go for this dynamic right off the bat, but it's just a matter of risk management actually. They just don't want to take risks. So let's explain them. They have no risk at all to share the source code with you, as soon as you pay them with small chunks of the application. And above all, it allows both of you to stop working at almost any time with a good match, with a fair situation. They are going to get paid for the work done, and you are going to be able to reuse the cost they did and ask maybe to someone else to continue the development. There are too many relationships between CEOs and providers that have bad ending just because the source code was only controlled by a developer. Sometimes the contract also do not specify that the source code belongs to the company and not to the developer. So that's something you really need to pay a close attention to before to start developing. After the source code management, let's now talk about the Agile methodology. This is definitely the methodology to apply in a startup, where you are going to write general description of your product, a rough description of your next version, and then a detailed specifications only for the next sprint. There are lots of courses about Agile methodology on YouTube, etc. And usually, good developers are used to this methodology. Here it is in few words. You have an idea box called the backlog. You put all your idea inside, and then you prioritize it on a regular meeting. Then, you will plan your tasks by sprint, usually 1 or 2 weeks. And after a few sprints, you will have a new app version. So you need to define from the beginning if you are going to create an application thanks to 2, 3, or 4 sprints as example. What is important is to do retrospective with demonstration every single sprint, keeping track that your development never stops. An entire week without commit, without new source code is not normal. This methodology also allows you to check if you are good in time-wise. The burn down chart allows you to keep track on the progress on daily basis. It's provided by any good Agile Scrum management software. It's not required on the beginning, but I highly recommend you to use it on growing team. Lastly, coming back to specifications, it's a requirement to write, draw, explain what you want. Remember, make it dirty if it's required, but do it anyway. And in addition to that, involve your team in the specification process. Ask your developers, your designers to reformulate. Make sure they really understand where you are going. So to sum up the basic of a successful team management, we need to focus on having specifications just for your next version, to control the source code with your own repository, and to use the Agile methodology, which allow a better planning control, a better agility, and a good communication between team members. And talking about team, let's see in the next video what type of resources you need for your project.